Listen, darling, being pretty is not enough anymore. A high-value woman is not built in salons or on Instagram feeds. She is built in silence, in sweat, in the late nights when no one claps for her, yet she rises like fire. Today, I'm not going to tell you how to please the world. I'm going to tell you how to make the world chase you. These 12 rules, they'll turn you from just another girl into the woman they whisper about when you walk away. Are you ready to unlock your inner queen? Stay with me for the next 15 minutes because this might be the last time you ever feel like you're not enough. Underscore. Stop seeking validation. Start valuing yourself. These words are not just a suggestion. They are the difference between living like a puppet in someone else's show or living as the queen of your own empire. The moment you seek approval, you silently hand over your power. The moment you wait for someone to clap for you, you are allowing them to decide when you are worthy. Think about it. Why should your beauty be beautiful only when someone else says so? Why should your intelligence matter only when someone else notices it? A woman who values herself doesn't wake up every morning and check her phone to see who texted, who liked her photo, who gave her attention. No, she wakes up and gives herself attention first. She looks in the mirror and whispers, "I am enough." She makes her own coffee with her own hands for her own joy. She doesn't dress to impress the world. She dresses to impress her soul. When you value yourself, you stop measuring your worth by how many followers you have or how many compliments you receive. Because, darling, validation is a drug. And the more you crave it, the more powerless you become. Let's be honest. How many times have you changed your caption, your outfit, to your opinion just because you were afraid of what others might think? How many times have you laughed at jokes you didn't find funny, smiled when you were broken inside, agreed to plans you hated only because you were afraid of being judged? This is what happens when you live on the thin ice of validation. One wrong step and you crack. But when you start valuing yourself, the game changes. You stop chasing and start attracting. Like a diamond that doesn't beg to be noticed. It shines and becomes a star for nobody but yourself. Like a diamond that doesn't beg to be noticed, it shines and becomes a star for nobody but yourself. And then you live in such amazing space. Like a diamond that doesn't beg to be noticed, it shines quietly until the world cannot ignore its brilliance. You walk into a room and don't wonder, do they like me? Instead you think, do I even like being here? When you value yourself, you pick your own company. You stop entertaining cheap words, small minds, and temporary people. A woman who values herself does not bend her standards to fit someone's mood. She does not dress down her light to make others comfortable in the dark. When you value yourself, you stop apologizing for being strong. You stop explaining why you want more. You stop settling for less. Look around. The most inspiring women you know, do they ask for permission to live? No. They wake up early, work late, dream big, and break rules when they need to. They don't wait for a man to tell them they're beautiful. They know they are. They don't wait for friends to clap for their success. They clap for themselves, and the world follows. Think about the girl who left her safe corporate job to start her own business. Everyone doubted her. It's risky, they said. You're crazy, they warned. But she wasn't looking for their approval. She was valuing her own dreams more than their fears. Today, she owns the very company people wanted her to fear. Or the single mother who chose dignity over dependence. She could have begged her toxic ex to stay. But no. She wiped her tears, straightened her crown, and raised her child with grace. Did society applaud her? No. But she applauded herself every night when she closed her tired eyes, because self-worth is louder than applause. Or the woman who finally left the relationship where she was treated like an option. For years she waited for him to change, for him to see her value. But one morning she woke up and whispered, "I am done seeking validation." She packed her bags, walked out the door, and into her freedom. Now, she laughs without fear, she sleeps in peace, she shines. When you stop seeking validation, you silence the world's noise and start hearing your own voice. You start choosing peace over people, growth over gossip, dreams over doubt. You no longer shrink to fit places you've outgrown. You no longer dance for crumbs of attention. You sit at the table of your worth. You eat from the plate of self-respect. You wear confidence like your favorite perfume. Rare, expensive, unforgettable. A woman who values herself cannot be manipulated. She cannot be guilt-tripped. She cannot be broken by opinions. Because she knows no one's words can define her. No one's approval can shape her. She has built her worth from within, brick by brick, moment by moment. She carries herself like royalty, speaks like wisdom, moves like fire, and the world watches in awe. Be comfortable saying no without explaining. Let this become your superpower. Let this be the silent sword you carry in a world that expects you to be forever available, forever agreeable, forever bending. Because every time you say yes when you want to say no, you betray yourself a little more. You burn one more piece of your self-worth just to keep someone else warm. And the world? It won't thank you for this sacrifice. It will only take more. Think about this. A friend asks you to help them move on a Sunday morning, but you were planning to rest, to read, to recharge. You want to say no, but you smile, you nod, and you agree. Why? Because you're afraid of seeming rude, selfish, unavailable. But when the day is done, your back aches, your soul feels tired, and your peace has been stolen. And the worst part, you taught that friend that your time, your energy, your rest is always negotiable. Or remember the colleague who dumps their work on your desk at 6 p.m., smiling, saying, "You don't mind, right? You're so good at this." And you feel the familiar panic. If you say no, maybe they'll dislike you. Maybe they'll whisper about you at the next meeting. So you say yes. Again. Another evening lost. Another moment stolen from your dreams. But imagine this instead. Imagine looking into their eyes and saying with calm, firm grace, no. No anger, no guilt, no explanation. Just a gentle, non-negotiable boundary. Watch the shock. Watch the respect rising in their eyes. Because in that moment, you've done something rare. You've protected your energy like a queen guards her crown. You see, powerful women know this secret. No is a complete sentence. It doesn't need decoration. It doesn't need an apology. It stands tall, silent, and whole. Like the woman who speaks it. A woman who can say no without explaining is a woman who controls her life. She is not a people pleaser. She is not a doormat. She does not perform the exhausting dance of approval. She values her time. She guards her peace. She chooses her battles. She knows that every yes she gives to others is a no she says to herself. And she refuses to betray herself. Picture the girl who is asked to attend yet another party she doesn't enjoy. Fake smiles, loud rooms, meaningless gossip. Before, she would have said yes, afraid of missing out, afraid of disappointing. But now, she smiles and says, no thank you, no reason, no sorry. Her evening is spent with a book, music, candlelight. Her soul breathes. And tomorrow, she wakes up stronger, not drained. Think of the woman whose family expects her to marry fast, to settle, to say yes to the next man who comes along. But she says no, without guilt, without fear, because her dreams are bigger than their timelines. Because she will not explain why she chooses her freedom over their pressure. One day, they will understand. But until then, her no will protect her destiny. Even at work, the high-value woman knows this truth. She does not take every project. She does not accept every request. She does not stretch herself thin to prove her worth. Because she knows when you say yes to everything, your work loses its power. Your energy becomes cheap. Your brilliance fades. But when you say no, firm, clear, unapologetic, people realize your value. Your time becomes rare. Your talent becomes precious. And what about relationships? The high-value woman says no to disrespect, no to games, no to half love, half effort, half commitment. Without explaining, she does not cry, she does not beg. She walks away with her silence louder than words, because she knows the right people never need an explanation for her boundaries, and the wrong ones don't deserve one. So, be the woman who can say no and not flinch, who can close the door and not herself. Because this world will always ask for more. Your job is to protect your soul, to guard your light, to honor your energy. And sometimes the most beautiful, powerful word you will ever speak is simply this: no. Master the art of mystery. A woman who reveals everything all at once loses her power before she even starts. The world does not admire what it fully understands. It admires what it cannot grasp, what keeps it guessing, what leaves something unsaid, unseen, untouched. Mystery is the perfume that lingers long after you have left the room. It's the silent smile that says, you'll never truly know all of me. Because the woman who is mysterious owns a magic that no one can steal. Look at the woman who talks too much, explains too much, shares too much with everyone she meets. She posts every meal, every emotion, every movement on social media. There is nothing left for the imagination. The world scrolls past her because there is no surprise left. No hunger to know more. She has served all of herself on the table and now waits for crumbs of attention. But the mysterious woman? She posts less, reveals less, speaks less. And because of this, people stare longer, wonder deeper, ask more questions. She owns their curiosity, their attention. Think of that girl at the office who walks in dressed with quiet confidence. Who will ask her what's going dressed with quiet confidence? She doesn't gossip in the break room. She doesn't explain her life story during lunch. She smiles but says little. She leaves before they can ask too much. And suddenly everyone wants to know her. Who is she? What does she do after work? Who is she dating? Is she seeing someone important? She says nothing. She lets the questions hang in the air like golden threads. Because she understands. The more they wonder, the more power she holds. Even in friendships, mystery is a treasure. Imagine the friend who never reveals all her plans, who surprises you with her sudden travel, her new hobby, her secret dreams. You can't predict her because she holds a private world no one sees. And you love her for it. She feels rare, like a locked diary. You respect her more because she doesn't pour every thought into the open. You admire her because she guards herself like a jewel. Relationships too bloom in the soil of mystery. A woman who keeps a little distance, a little silence, a little unpredictability becomes unforgettable. Men do not chase what they have fully figured out. They chase what escapes their understanding. The woman who does not answer every message, who does not pick up every call, who does not reveal her entire heart in one sitting, she becomes a puzzle worth solving. She becomes the adventure they want to pursue. Not the easy book that can be read in one night, but the novel that takes time, patience, attention. She is the spark they cannot catch. And that makes her dangerous. That makes her unforgettable. Even with family, mystery commands respect. The daughter who does not share every fear, every failure, every private thought, earns a silent strength. Her parents, her siblings, her relatives wonder what she's thinking, what she's planning, what world she holds inside. They cannot meddle because she gives them no map to follow. She is polite, loving, but guarded, and so they step carefully around her. Because she controls the story they know, mystery even matters with strangers. The woman who walks down the street with her head high, her smile soft, her gaze distant, she is noticed. People turn to look again. Not because she shouts for attention, but because her silence pulls their eyes. She gives no signals, no obvious clues. She moves like a secret, and that makes her powerful. And most of all, mystery protects your peace. When you do not reveal your dreams, no one can curse them. When you do not speak of your plans, no one can ruin them. When you do not pour your heart into every ear, no one can break it. Mystery is not deception. Mystery is wisdom. It is choosing who deserves to know the real you and who does not. It is knowing that your life is a treasure and not every hand is worthy to touch it. It is power wrapped in silence, fire hidden in ice. The less they know, the more they want. Invest in your own growth before love, because no man, no relationship, no promise can fill the emptiness of a woman who has not built herself first. The world taught you to search for the perfect partner, the perfect romance, the perfect fairy tale. But the truth they forgot to tell you is this: the greatest love story you will ever live is the one you write with yourself. The man of your dreams is not coming to save you. He is not the key to your happiness. You are. Your growth, your vision, your ambition, they are the roots that will hold you firm when the storms come. Love will be the flower, but you must first plant the tree. Imagine the girl who waits her whole life for a man to make her happy. She holds back her dreams, her business ideas, her education, her freedom, thinking, when I meet the right one, I'll start living. And then one day she realizes the right one never came. Or worse, he came, but she was not ready. She had nothing to offer but need, not power. She didn't know her own worth, her own strength, her own fire. And because of that, he didn't stay. Or he stayed and she lost herself in him. A half-built woman attracts half-hearted love. But look at the woman who invests in her own growth. She studies, she reads, she travels alone. She takes that course, that class, that risk. She learns skills, not to impress a man, but to build her empire. She fills her mind with knowledge, her body with health, her soul with peace. She wakes up early to write her book, to create her art, to plan her business. And when love comes, it does not complete her, it complements her. Because she is already whole. She does not need saving. She does not need permission. She does not lower her crown to fit into someone's life. She rises, and the right man rises to meet her. Think of the woman who chose to delay marriage because she wanted to finish her degree. Her family pressured her. You're getting old, they said. Find a man before it's too late. But she smiled, thanked them, and enrolled in law school. Years later, when her name was printed on the golden plaque outside her own office, they finally understood. She had built herself first. And when love found her, it was not her rescue, it was her reward. Or the single mother who refused to settle for another broken relationship. She spent nights studying after her child slept, weekends working extra shifts, holidays saving every coin. Friends mocked her. Why don't you date again? They teased. But she knew she was building a future where no man could hold her hostage with money or promises. When the right partner came, she was no longer desperate, she was discerning. Because her growth had given her vision. Even in friendships, growth matters before love. The girl who builds herself does not depend on company to feel alive. She goes to movies alone. She dines alone. She travels alone. Because she understands solitude is not loneliness. It's power. When you can enjoy your own company, you will never beg for someone else's. And when you don't need anyone, you attract everyone. Your energy changes, you glow differently. Because you are full, not hungry. Complete, not lacking. And in work, growth makes you magnetic. The woman who builds skills, ideas, passions, projects becomes irresistible. Not because she tries to be, but because she is alive. She is not waiting for romance to save her from boredom. She is busy making a life worth living. And that confidence pulls the right people toward her. Growth gives you standards. A woman who has built herself will not fall for empty words or shallow charm. She will not tolerate half love, half effort, half truth. Because she has seen her own strength, tasted her own success, and she knows anyone who wants to stand beside her must match her fire. Growth sharpens your eyes, strengthens your spine, heals your heart. When you invest in your growth first, you do not fear loss, loneliness, or rejection. You have built a life so rich, so full, that love becomes the bonus, not the prize. Set boundaries like a queen, because a queen does not ask the crowd how to rule her kingdom. She does not seek approval to guard her castle. She builds walls where needed. She raises gates when necessary. And she lets no one walk freely in her empire unless they deserve it. You must do the same with your life, your heart, your time, your energy. If you do not set boundaries, the world will trample over you without mercy. If you do not say, this far, no further, people will take more than you ever meant to give. Look at the woman who cannot say no to anyone. She answers every text, picks up every call, says yes to every favor. At work, they dump extra files on her desk. In friendships, they call only when they want something. In love, she tolerates disrespect because she fears being alone. And each time, a little piece of her confidence dies. Each time, she feels smaller, weaker, more invisible. But why? Because she forgot her power. She forgot that boundaries are not cruelty. They are self-respect. They are the crown she is meant to wear. Imagine instead the woman who sets boundaries like a queen. Her phone rings, but if she is resting, she lets it ring, because her peace matters more than instant replies. A friend asks for help, but she says, "Not today, I need my time." And she says it without guilt. At work, when the boss piles on extra tasks, she smiles and says, "I can't take this on unless something else is removed." And they listen, because they see she values her worth. She teaches the world how to treat her by the boundaries she sets. Think of the mother who never gets a moment alone because everyone expects her to be available 24/7. One day she locks her room, lights a candle, and takes an hour for herself. The kids knock, the husband calls, but she stays silent because she has decided her soul needs space to breathe. And the house survives. They learn to respect her quiet. They learn she is not a servant. She is a queen. Or the woman who is dating someone who pushes her limits, disrespects her values, makes jokes at her expense. Once, she would have laughed nervously, ignored the red flags, stayed quiet to keep the peace. But now, she looks him in the eye and says, "That is not acceptable." Calm, clear, unshaken. She does not fear losing him because she knows a man who cannot honor her boundaries does not deserve her love. And suddenly, the power shifts. He senses her strength. He knows she cannot be played. Even in friendships, boundaries build respect. The girl who always listened to drama, who was the free therapist, the emotional dumping ground, one day she says, "I care for you, but I cannot carry this every day." And the friend steps back, surprised, but learning, because when you set boundaries, you teach others that your time, your mind, your heart are sacred spaces, not public parks for everyone to walk through. At work, the high-value woman guards her boundaries fiercely. She does not answer emails late at night. She does not smile through disrespect. She does not work overtime without appreciation. And because of this, she is valued more, not less. Her time feels rare. Her presence feels precious. She becomes the one they cannot misuse, cannot manipulate. She becomes the one who commands silent respect. Even with family, boundaries are royal. The daughter who says, "I love you, but I will live my life my way," is free. The sister who says, "I cannot fix your problems for you," is strong. The woman who says, "I choose peace over endless arguments," is wise. She stops playing the role they wrote for her. She writes her own script. She builds her own kingdom. Because boundaries are not walls that isolate, they are gates that protect. They are the quiet rules that whisper, "Only those who respect me may enter." And when you set them like a queen, the world notices. They pause. They think twice before crossing your line. Because they know a queen guards her empire fiercely. A queen chooses who gets close. A queen never explains why her throne is high, why her crown is heavy, why her doors are not open to all. Make self-respect your superpower. Because in a world where people are constantly trying to measure your worth by how much you give, how much you sacrifice, how much you tolerate, you must be the woman who stands tall and says, "I will not shrink for anyone." Self-respect is the silent shield that no one can see but everyone feels. It's the quiet fire in your eyes when someone crosses the line. It's the calm in your voice when someone tries to play you cheap. When you hold your self-respect high, you become untouchable, unbreakable. Think about the woman who lowers herself for attention, who laughs at jokes that hurt her, who accepts half-hearted love because she fears being alone. Every time she ignores her worth to keep the peace, she loses a piece of herself. She becomes smaller, invisible, until one day she realizes nothing she does will ever make people value her if she doesn't value herself first. Her weakness teaches them how to treat her. They push her because she does not push back. They take because she does not say enough. But when she chooses self-respect over validation, everything changes. Imagine the girl who decides to leave the relationship where she is ignored, disrespected, treated like an option. Her friends warn her, but what if no one better comes along? But she smiles and walks away because she knows being single with self-respect is better than being in a relationship without dignity. She would rather sleep alone than cry next to someone who doesn't see her value. And that strength makes her glow differently. The world notices. The same people who doubted her strength now watch in awe because self-respect is rare. And rare is always beautiful. Or picture the woman at work who is always asked to do more, stay late, cover for others, without thanks, without reward. One day she finally says no. She sets boundaries. She demands fair treatment. Her boss is shocked. Her colleagues whisper. But slowly, they learn. They learn that her time is valuable, that her presence cannot be taken for granted, and suddenly she is respected, not because she begged for it, but because she carried herself like she deserved it. Self-respect makes the world adjust to your worth. Even in family, self-respect must rule. The daughter who refuses to be controlled by guilt, the sister who does not allow manipulation, the woman who says, I love you, but I will not live by your expectations. These choices are hard. They invite anger, criticism, fear. But in the end, they bring freedom. The family learns to see her as her own person, not as a puppet, not as a servant, but as a queen ruling her own life. In friendships too, self-respect is the quiet test. You don't chase people who ignore you. You don't beg for attention. You don't explain your silence. The friend who forgets you again and again will soon realize you're not waiting by the phone. You're not desperate for crumbs of affection. You are building your own life, your own joy, your own kingdom. And they will miss you because self-respect leaves a scent no one forgets. And what about society? The strangers, the neighbors, the crowd. Self-respect walks into the room before you speak. It shows in the way you sit, the way you smile, the way you say no without flinching. The world watches carefully. A woman who respects herself does not need to explain herself. She does not need to prove her worth. She is rare. She is expensive. She is unforgettable. Even in your private life, self-respect saves you. When you say no to gossip, no to drama, no to wasting your time on things that do not matter, you protect your soul. When you choose books over mindless scrolling, peace over noise, dreams over distraction, you invest in your greatness. Self-respect is the fuel that will carry you through every storm, every rejection, every betrayal. Because when the world breaks your heart, only self-respect can hold you together. Only self-respect can remind you, I am enough, I am worthy, I am unstoppable. A high-value woman does not ask for permission to shine. She does not seek approval to rise. She does not shrink herself to fit into small minds, small spaces, or small dreams. She stands boldly in her power, knowing that she is the architect of her destiny, the queen of her own kingdom, the fire in her own soul. Let the world wonder, let the world watch, let them whisper, because she will never explain herself to people who refuse to understand her worth. Remember, a queen does not lower her crown to greet the crowd. She holds her head high, even when the weight feels heavy, because she knows her worth is not measured by applause, likes, or attention. but by the silent respect she commands when she walks into a room. The most dangerous woman is the one who needs nothing but herself. She is her own validation, her own inspiration, her own celebration. And because of this, no man, no rejection, no betrayal can break her spirit. There is a reason why the world fears the woman who chooses herself first. She is unpredictable. She is unstoppable. Because a woman who loves herself will never beg to be loved by others. A woman who respects herself will never tolerate disrespect. A woman who invests in herself will never live small for the comfort of others. She is the storm that cannot be silenced, the fire that cannot be tamed, the ocean that cannot be emptied. Every step you take towards your own greatness is a silent rebellion against every voice that told you, you can't. Every time you say no without guilt, you reclaim the power they tried to steal. Every time you choose your peace over their approval, your growth over their comfort, your dreams over their demands, you rise. You rise into the woman you were always meant to be. And the world has no choice but to rise with you. Let them call you selfish when you set boundaries. Let them call you cold when you refuse to settle. Let them call you arrogant when you walk away from what no longer serves you. Because the truth is, they fear the woman who no longer fears being alone. They fear the woman who no longer needs to be needed. They fear the woman who looks in the mirror and says, I am enough. Not because the world said so, but because she decided. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are not here to fit into boxes they built before you were born. You are not here to be small, to be silent, to be soft, for the comfort of those who cannot handle your You are here to be bold, to be loud, to be glorious, to take up space, to shine so bright that those who cannot stand the light are forced to turn away, and you will let them. Because queens do not chase. Queens do not beg. Queens do not explain. The greatest lesson life will teach you is this. When you choose yourself, the right people will choose you. The right opportunities will find you. The right love will flow to you. But none of it will come until you stand without apology in your own worth. Until you refuse to settle for less than you deserve. Until you walk away from everything that asks you to forget who you are. You are not too much. You are not too strong. You are not too ambitious. You are exactly as you were meant to be. A force that shakes the earth. A soul that burns with purpose. A woman who bends for no one. And those who cannot handle your light, let them stay in the dark, because you were not born to dim. You were born to blaze. So rise. Rise in your silence. Rise in your strength. Rise in your mystery. Rise in your self-respect. Rise in your standards. Rise in your boundaries. Be the woman who walks away when she is not valued. Be the woman who does not break when she is doubted. Be the woman who keeps building even when the world is watching and waiting for her to fail. And when they ask how you became so powerful, so untouchable, so radiant, you will smile and say, because I chose myself. And that made all the difference. Never forget, you are the prize. You are the rarest jewel. You are the dream they cannot possess unless you allow it. And the moment you fully realize this truth, you become the woman no man can play, no friend can use, no society can limit. You become legend. You become unforgettable. You become unstoppable.